Right. So I wanted to ask you, 'cause I've seen it on Instagram and TikTok this week. Right. Imagine you're a burglar, but you can only steal things that slightly inconvenience the people that you've stolen from. What are you taking?
Charger, iPhone charger, phone charger.
The handle off the toilet to flush it.
That's evil. That's pure evil. Go on, what are you taking, Gary?
Salt shaker.
Salt shaker. See, I was thinking you take a remote.
Everyone's depends on which ones. I mean, I've lost untold remote controls, and the fact that I use an Amazon Fire Stick allows me to use my phone to use my TV. So losing a remote is becoming less of an issue, I think, as we go on.
The
The
worst
fact
But
one
I
is,
is,
think
you should never wrap presents while sat watching TV because some muppet is going to
we're
wrap a
gonna get
remote and send it
yeah
out for Christmas. Took me months to get my TV remote back.
some
the
some Muppet, eh? Some Muppet.
the most evil one I saw this week was the bottom to someone's kettle.
Yeah,
Oh,
Oh,
the
pretty
that's
rough.
base,
nasty.
yeah.
That's just mean.
That's
That's
pretty
just
rough.
nasty.
That's evil.
The thing is, any of our American listeners and viewers wouldn't understand the difference there because they'd be like, "What's a kettle?" First of all, and there's this whole they boil water in a microwave in the States or something. It's just like,
I mean,
ugh.
I know plenty of people in the States who've got a kettle, but it's one of those like camping kettles that you put on top of
For the
Stove.
stove.
a stove. Um, Not speaking from experience whatsoever, but I did have a detailed list that I was debating on putting on social media. So like the clippers to someone's, uh, so the guards to someone's clippers,
Yeah, that'd be
the
rough.
backs to someone's earrings. I always like that one. That's a classic one.
Hose off the Hoover.
Hose off the Hoover. That's a good one. So many things you can do.
So many little annoying things, as you say, that would just be, you wouldn't realize how annoying they are until somebody took them from you, and you'd be like, "Oh, you bugger!"
Yeah. So I mean, to be fair, like when I've had these conversations before, it's almost a test to see how petty someone is. So I think Nick wins that one with the toilet
Yeah,
handle.
that's pretty bad.
Um,
Absolutely, that just shows Nick's level of pettiness.
and do you know what? I respect it so much, so
Uh,
much. Right. Anyway, shall we get going with the episode? I think that's
I think
probably
so.
what
Now,
we should be
we've
doing.
worked out the pettiest amongst us. Although, let's be honest, considering Sam had a bit of a beef about the Niners being petty, it would have been interesting to get his viewpoint. But I think he's too busy falling asleep watching Arsenal by the sound of it.
Yeah. Um. So. Right. Anyway, let's just get into it. Hopefully, Sam does join at some point. Not sure as Arsenal are run right now in the Champions League, but welcome back to the College Football UK podcast brought to you by the AEW Network. I am your host Fletch, and as always, I am joined by my co-hosts on the screen. Well, not if you're not on YouTube. They're not only on screen if you're on YouTube. But as always, I have
I
Adam.
started well. Started well.
I have Adam. I have Nick. And I have Gary. Gents, how are we this week?
Very good.
Great. I'm
Thank
having
you.
a great week.
Me too,
I'm
Nick.
not sure. I'm not sure the sarcasm and came across enough there, Nick. My week's been fantastic so far. Last night was a highlight.
Yeah, it's a rough week. It's the first week after two where you got to do 5 days at work instead of four either side of the Easter holiday. So it's always takes a bit of adjustment.
Yeah, yeah, I totally get that one. Anyway, as is customary at this moment in time throughout this year, we are going through all of the draft. All of the positions going through the draft. We've done quarterbacks, we've done running backs, we've done wide receivers, tight ends, defensive linemen. Excuse me. And this week, given that it's 1 week and 1 day, and as a day of release, it'll be 1 week until the NFL draft, we're doing linebackers and defensive backs, 3 positions technically that we need to cover in this. So we need to be on it, boys.
It's a lot to get through in one episode.
Before we do, as is always customary, please come and follow us on social media. We have a variety of different things going on our socials. Come and join in the fun. Join our free-to-join Discord server, and you can find all the relevant links and information in the description of this episode. If you are on YouTube, they're right below our gorgeous faces. And if you're on Spotify or Apple or any other such audio-based platform, they will be in the description in the app that you are listening on. As is customary, we didn't get it last week, and we're all missing our fix. Nick's news.
Missed that, didn't you, Fletch? You missed it.
That's half
Like
the
a hole
problem.
in the head.
We overrun half the time because we've got to wait for Gary and all his
Gary's
sound
jingles.
effects.
Yeah.
Right. Alabama wide receiver Noah Rodgers will miss the start of the 26th season after getting injured in the spring game. I believe it's some sort of Achilles injury, but it is not a torn ACL. He's a fourth-year junior that transferred in from NC State. 4-star recruit Camden Lapatai has decommitted from Illinois. The number 2 ranked QB in the 27 recruitment class has had his head turned by bigger programs. That bigger program that he's chosen to go to as of today is Michigan.
Go blue. Thieving, stealing blues.
I'm not sure whether, if you're that good at QB, why you want to go and sit behind another one. But hey, apparently it was either Michigan or Notre Dame that he was choosing from.
So that makes sense then. At least that decision makes sense.
At least with Michigan, he's got a chance of making the playoffs. Because if you play for Notre Dame, you're not allowed in the playoffs because they just changed the rules to do whatever they want.
Apart from writing a very specific rule that says if you have a cakewalk schedule, you're automatically into the playoffs, you mean?
Something like that, yeah. While we're on that subject, this was going to be my last bit, but I'll move it forward. The College Football Playoff Committee have released a new logo.
Yeah.
Now, in my opinion, it's possibly an attempt to distance themselves from the terrible fiasco of last year, but they have released a new logo. It looks almost identical to last year's, apart from they've just stuck CFP at the bottom. I'll touch on this, although I don't know how relevant it is now. Sharon Moore, former Michigan head coach, has been sentenced to 18 months probation, no jail time, fined $1,000, and therefore his contest pleas of the 2 misdemeanors. So I'm glad it's behind him. I'm glad he's all sorted and he's seeking the help that he needs to get. So from that point of view, great. I doubt we'll see him in college again. Whether we see him in football again is a whole different argument. And finally, probably the biggest news of the week relates to Iowa, and that's that they've had to vacate 4 wins from their 23 season due to tampering. Cade McNamara entered the transfer portal having received communications from Iowa staff. So they were naughty, so they've had some wins taken away.
They got found out more than other teams, shall we say?
Something like that, yeah. Because no other teams
do that and tap up before a player enters the portal. Tampers. That's why players enter the portal with a no contact tag, right?
Exactly. They want to control it themselves.
Good. Glad we got that clear.
So I'm just checking something regarding vacated wins. So that's in the Big Ten now. They join Michigan State and Ohio State as the only Big Ten schools with vacated wins. Funny how that works, isn't it?
Isn't it? Funny how some teams get away with things, isn't it? Who should have their wins vacated for tampering and
Whatever do you
cheating.
mean,
Shoulda,
Gary?
woulda, coulda.
Whatever do you
I wonder
mean?
what other team deserve to have some wins vacated.
If they deserved it, why don't they have it?
Because, well, the NCAA and their strength of spine, shall we say. Moving on.
Have you got that GIF of the guy from the Chelsea, but can we put it on like everyone else's? Like I wanted Michigan like drinking the tears from Saturday.
I've got the JPEG and I've got the GIF on my phone as well, so I can send it.
Brilliant.
When it goes live on YouTube, it will suddenly be there. We'll find it.
Yeah, that'll be it. The whole 3-hour
the whole
episode.
thumbnail will just be that.
No, the whole 3-hour episode. Well, I'll end up just cropping it over the top. No
Of
actual video. No actual
Makes
video,
sense.
just that.
Makes sense.
Anyway, Gary's Gazette. Anything going on Gary's Gazette this week?
Something silly. I obviously noticed it. Bobby Bowden's name will now be permanently memorialized at the airport near Florida State campus. They are calling it, the airport is about 6 miles away, and therefore it will now be called, I believe it will be called the Bobby Bowden Airport.
Bobby Bowden Tallahassee International Airport.
Rolls off the tongue just as much as a Florida State's win record this year will roll off the tongue. Yeah, so that's the only amusing sort of thing I spotted today. Other than that, now see, news. I don't know to bring it up in the news or bring it up later because it's relevant to the main topic of conversation, but it's also relevant to news because I have a feeling that somebody may have mentioned this in a news broadcast maybe a year ago or so about a certain player who we're about to talk to in our main body of conversation. So I'm just confused, and I'm pretty sure, and looking at your faces, you're looking at me thinking, what the hell are you going with this one? Nick, about a year ago, did you or did you not happen to mention that a certain defensive player from Miami was involved in a car accident? I have a feeling you did, and yet somehow that seems to be.
I did.
News.
Are we talking about the Rupert?
That one, yes.
Yeah.
The player that we may be talking about in the next segment.
Yeah,
no, because he's a defensive end, so we weren't talking.
He's a defensive end linebacker. I thought he was in that conversation.
But he comes under the defensive end, so
fair enough. Well, then my point stands is that Nick, I'm pretty sure that Ollie Connolly's getting a load of kudos right now, saying that he was the one who broke the story about this. But I got a feeling if we went back through our archives, you mentioned this about a year ago.
I appreciate you bringing that up. I vaguely remember mentioning something because it was only because obviously one of the passengers had died and what have you. To be honest, I don't know why it's come out now. I mean, I know why it's come out now.
Yeah, well, I think we all know why, right? Yeah.
That's not... Yeah, it's come out now because some agents are talking to try and get Bain to fall.
Yeah, somebody wants Bailey, Bain at 9 or 10 or something. Yeah.
But what I did think was... Yeah, Harry Roseman could be. What I did think was a good thing was that the parents of the girl that died did come out and say, look, this has been, it's gone. It was a complete accident. He, let him go on and move on with his, nobody needs to go to, because I bet you they're still grieving and what have you. Nobody needs to bring this up and whatever else. It's just, whoever, I know why it's been done, but nobody knows who's done it. But it's just like, come on, there's a line that you shouldn't cross. And I think, to be honest, that nobody needed to bring this up. But, I vaguely remember raising it at some point.
Yeah, I think it's good that there's been no mass witch hunt on it. And as you say, the parents coming out going, this was dealt with last year. Why is it? It's not news, but it's right. It is draft. People are making noises. I'm wondering whether or not Ollie was the one who broke it, because he's not a US-based journalist, and therefore he might not be in the inner circle of all the US journalists that kind of gone, leave it. It's not news. Don't know. Interesting. Interesting.
Every year, in fact, I was talking to Mrs. Fletch about this the other day. Every year, like clockwork, 10 days, 11 days, 12 days before the draft, somewhere around that time, some story breaks about someone who's supposed to go generally in the top 10.
Yeah.
Always happens like clockwork. And I said to Mrs. Fletch literally a week ago, we're about 2 days away from finding out that someone
been in something somewhere.
By the sounds of it, everything that's been said about it, like even the girl's parents have said, it was an accident. It wasn't reckless driving. It wasn't him being a dick. He wasn't under the influence. These freak accidents happen, and it just so happened to happen to Reuben Bain Jr.
Yeah.
And the one point I did want to make on this, I was like, there's all these people going on about how his draft stock being tanked and all that sort of stuff. Got a quick question for you. What is draft stock?
It is how an awful lot of journalists get paid every year.
Yeah. So draft stock is
journalists and agents, I suppose.
How much is put into a player in where they're going to go in a draft, right? And the more stock they've got, the higher they go, and all that sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's journalist talk. That's media people talk. And talk about NFL teams have known about this for a while. So if he's down on boards, he's already been down on the only fucking boards that matter for 3 months, right?
Yeah.
He is down,
if not before,
Mel Kiper's board, maybe. He's down on Daniel Jeremiah's board. He's down on the guy at CBS. He's down on the guy at ESPN's board. But these are all media, but none of this has any bearing on any reality. The only boards that actually matter are the ones of the 32 NFL teams are people who are going to be making phone calls on Thursday, on Friday, and on Saturday next week. So this whole, his stock is falling, public perception. Reality is, if he's going to go at, say, 12 now, this has been the case for 2-3 months. NFL teams, the Lions might not take him, but they'll have decided that 2 months ago. Yeah. It's one of those, and we're going to come up against. I don't want to monologue properly about this now because it's going to come up next week and it's going to come up the week after. The one thing we always need to remember is we can talk as much as we want, and we will talk, and we'll do it today about linebackers, safeties, and corners. What we know is just we know what we to an extent know what we're talking. Nick knows what he's talking about. Adam knows what he's talking about. Me and Gary are just kind of floating to get by, seeing if what we say lands.
Wing it, throwing every now and again, throwing out a pertinent reference, and that's about as much as we can hope for, right?
I mean, on this pod, the only board that counts is the one that's behind me.
Exactly.
Oh, mic drop. Moving on. But bam.
Like it's just one of them. Like we can say so much, but we aren't NFL insiders. None of us are in NFL rooms. None of us are GMs. This is just here's the information, how we see it, and present it to you. Too many people take too much stock. We will try and help you with the information that we know, but go and take that information on for yourself as well.
And all that is done is allow teams to just say, "We told you so last year, Reuben. You should have known this was coming. You knew you had red flags." I listened. I think it was PFT with Florio and Sims Monday's episode, maybe Wednesday's. I can't remember. They all blur into one when you're listening to them. But they also mentioned it. It was very much like this has happened before. Teams in year two. I think it's a non-story, but it's a story inevitably. It's the draft story this year, as Fletch mentioned. It's the Shador Sanders. It's the
and there's always going to be
something's wrong with
someone's always going to find something. Something will always come up because that's just the nature of these things.
If anything,
absolutely. But as Fletch said, every team's known about this.
The only people that story is bothering is probably the parents of the girl. Everyone else that. it's not, people
Yes.
that don't need it. So, hey, that's what agents
If the agent can drum
are
up some
there to
bad
do.
stories for him,
So,
and therefore another linebacker edge gets drafted higher than him and gets more millions, agent's done their job right.
and that's more money for the agent as well.
Yeah,
exactly.
So,
That's exactly it.
If he can get his guy one spot up, it's probably worth 10 grand to him.
Easy.
So,
yeah, because I mean,
that's
that's the thing, isn't it? The draft, the position you are drafted in makes a difference to the bottom line. It's dollars, it's $1 million, it's millions. Is it millions per pick, or is it a million? What it is? I think there is a.
I think it depends on how. It all depends on position.
Yeah,
and
of course it does.
um,
It's not like on
how much
draft
you
day
play
when Bo Callahan gets drafted $7 million cheaper because it's at 7 rather than at.
Well, he is $7 million
It's
cheaper
moved on a
because
bit.
he's lower down. He's lower down,
Yeah.
but I don't think it's the.
He's $7 million cheaper on a
Yeah.
QB scale versus a DB scale.
Hey,
Or
The thing that bothers me about that film more than anything is if Seattle Seahawks are the
It's the
if
shocking
the Seattle
plot hole, you mean?
Seahawks are champions, why are they picking first? The only thing I can
Why?
assume is they've
Yeah.
traded that pick way before they won.
Way before they've
Yeah.
done
Yeah.
like the Bears
But
did or whatever,
how
and
they
actually had a
can be
winning
current
season, but
champions
somehow
and be
still had a
picking
first.
first is the only thing that's not mentioned in that film that
little bit of artistic
probably should
license.
be.
Yeah, because that's the only shocking plot line hole in that whole movie, right? Uh-huh. Yeah.
I think as well, like if you look at it from an agent's perspective, though, the more players you get drafted, you've got the bottom line there on that specific deal, but that's more clients for you next year.
Yeah. Because
Which is
everyone goes,
more
hey,
about
you managed to get him.
So, and look, if you've got someone who might next year be going 12th, 13th, maybe, and you say like, look, I'm the guy who can get you to be taken 7th overall. Because look what I did to Reuben Bain Jr. last year. I'm not saying that necessarily will be the case, but let's say agents do have these incentives, and one of those incentives can also be it gets them more clients, more high-end clients, better clients, which means more money in the end as well. So there's that bottom line, and then there's bottom lines next year as well.
So now that we've finished with the news, I think we should probably try and get through this very deep episode of guys behind the front line of the defensive line. Do we start safeties and defensive backs and linebackers? Do we go the deeper, more
you hear me
talented
now?
class? Yeah. We're just
Yes.
we're just rolling with it. We're just rolling with it.
We'll just go straight into linebackers. That's the linebackers, corners, safeties. Nick, as is customary for these episodes, do you want to take us away on linebackers?
Yeah, I mean,
we only need to talk about one, right?
Arvo Reese, Sonny Styles, CJ Allen, they're the top three. They're the three I've got with first round grades. CJ Allen's probably going to be sort of 20s. The other two will be out in the first 5-6 picks. Yeah, and I think it's just whether Arvo Reese ends up playing edge or whether he stays at linebacker, I'm not sure. That's for whoever drafts him. But
I think he'd be best suited. I'm not sure about best suited, but whoever drafts him have to make the decision to stop playing him as a tweener and say, right, you're either a pass rushing defensive end and go and learn and skill up and get bulkier and get a little bit more on that, or you're an outside linebacker. You can't be this half and half sort of. He's not Von Miller. He needs to go either one or the other, and he has to decide and be either one or the other. I don't think he's got the coverage skill set to play linebacker.
I've been adamant that the Jets were going to take Bain or Bailey, but as the weeks have gone on, there is this niggle that are the Jets going to take Arvo Reese?
I think they are.
They could well do. But I mean, yeah, Avery, Sunny Styles, they are in a class of their own, and you know they've played they've played in a defense that's been run by an NFL defensive coach in Matty P. So they know what they're doing. They're coming into the league blue chip, ready to go, high ceiling, high floor. You know these guys are top of the class for a very good reason.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would have Styles probably ahead of Reese. I think just more experience, played a lot more. I think four seasons worth of games versus
Yeah.
two. And especially with Reese, where we have got this dilemma about where he's best played. I'm
Yeah.
not sure. I think he probably could have done with another season on tape, just proving the point one way or other.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think Sonny Styles is the number one linebacker of the draft
Yeah.
because he is the full package on linebacker. His coverage is amazing, but then that's not surprising. He's moved from safety to linebacker. He's still got those instincts, but he can tackle, he can cover. He's the prototype, new pro linebacker, Fred Warner type, covers the ground, covers really well, covers tight ends, have no problem covering your slot receivers, but can also bring the heat, bring the tackle, rush the passer when needed, etc. He is head and shoulders the best linebacker, possibly, maybe even the best player in the draft. But I'm
Yeah.
sure we might get to who we think is probably the best overall player later on in this episode. And then, as you say, Arvell Reese sits there at 2 with the caveat of he's maybe a defensive end linebacker. CJ Allen, Rodriguez, Anthony Hill Jr. The drop off, I think, as we've mentioned, with other, when we talk about the tackles or the defensive tackles and all the other sort of positions, the drop off between the top 2 and everyone else in this linebacker class, I think, Nick, pretty hefty, right? I mean, it's possibly one of the bigger drop offs from 1 and 2 to 3 than it is on any other position.
Yeah.
That's not to say they're
I
all
think
bad, the rest of them, but they're just
no. I mean, this is
There
the
is a
thing.
gulf there, isn't it?
You're talking about the best of the best players coming out of college. You know, it's like when I'm looking and I'm picking weaknesses out, I am nitpicking at stuff because you're talking
well,
about
he's only
those
got 33 and a
really,
half
really,
inch arms
yeah,
compared to 34. Oh, come on.
exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, you've got recent styles that are probably on their own level.
Mhm.
I reckon you've got CJ Allen that's probably below them on his own level. And then I've got um, Jacob Rodriguez and Anthony Hill Jr. on the next one down.
Yeah.
And then the next one below that would be Jake
Trotter.
Golday and Josiah Trotter.
Yeah. But they
Um,
are down there. It's
Further
as you say,
down.
it's
yeah,
those really big step jumps down, isn't it? I mean, third
What's
round, fourth round players, perfectly fine, but not anywhere near the Styles Reese level.
Yeah. Well, with CJ Allen, do you think the trouble he had with his knee last season might play a factor? Because he did have to have a little bit of surgery to get that knee cleaned up. I think he
I
only missed the
think
game in the end, but you
yeah,
know,
he got a clean bill of health, and again, all the teams have seen the medical information and that from the combine, so
yeah,
they're operating from a window that is far more detailed than we know now because we don't know that stuff. But
Yeah.
I think the fact that Alan only missed one game, or 2 games, and he was back and he hasn't had any um, long-lasting issues with it. So I think it's probably just one of those unfortunate things, but
Yeah.
I can't see it costing him too much. And the other thing is, there's not when it comes to linebacker, there's a lot of teams that need a linebacker, but there's only a few teams that have more important needs than linebacker.
Yeah.
So those really good guys are going to get eaten up early. And then it's just a case of you sat there waiting, going, well, I don't want to take this guy because then I'm overreaching. So then you end up waiting for the,
Hmm. And
because
then you
for
miss
me,
that mid tier and end up with the as you say, third or fourth tier, because you're too high to take the next tier down, because that as you say would be a reach for them. But by the flip side, then everyone you end up on a run of them in the late third, early fourth, and then suddenly you're like, okay, we're into tier 4 now. Okay, well, it is what it is. But I think there's, as you say, that it's also a position where is it a high need position, right? As you say, you need your edges, you need your DTs, you need your offensive line, you need your QBs, and your stars. Linebacker is I don't want to say a forgotten position, but it's not one of those ones where you go into a team goes into the draft going, main need is a linebacker we can build our defense around. You don't. It's not like that anymore. Although Sonny Styles,
players, don't you?
Although Sonny Styles, Sonny Styles will elevate any defense he goes into. He is, and we go back to talking about the draft day, the movie. He is Avonte Mack. He is that kind of player that you go, he is the linchpin of this defense for the next X amount of years. His style is going to allow us to do so many things. Therefore, he is our captain. I'm drafting him high because I need him to be that guy. And he is that guy. He looks like it. He's played in a pro defense for the last couple of seasons.
Yes. Led a pro defense as well.
Yeah. CJ Allen, worried about his coverage. He's very much breaks on the ball, good tackling, whatever else. Coverage, a worry. He's a run first linebacker. I think that's the thing. As you go through these linebackers, you're picking things like that, going, it's not great in a coverage. He's not great in this. He can't. You're looking at as Nick says. You're maybe nitpicking, but it's like they all have deficiencies in their game to certain extents. Sonny Styles looks like the finished polish article to me, and he didn't help himself at. He certainly didn't hurt his position at Indiana either, did he? Sorry, Indianapolis, not Indiana. Indianapolis, when he went there and absolutely blew the doors off of all the measurables at the combine.
Yeah.
Not that anybody was surprised by it, but I think maybe people who haven't been so au fait with college football, who weren't aware of it, suddenly saw that and went, "Wow!"
You've actually just trod on a really good point that people that don't sort of like that are not into college football but are heavy
What's wrong with
into
you?
the NFL.
Sorry.
Right? They don't really pay attention until the combine comes around because they don't know what's going. And I keep telling people, yeah, great, the underwear Olympics is brilliant. If you
don't they look good in those number 57 linebacker black
you
shorts?
want to pay attention to the underwear Olympics, that's fine, but don't base your entire knowledge on it, because there's years worth of tape that people and I'll much rather trust 2 seasons worth of tape that I can find on the internet than this guy didn't run a 40 very well.
Yeah.
And I mean, the 40 pisses me off something chronic anyway, because I've said many a time.
Oh, that guard! I'm sorry, that guard only ran a 4.92. When are you ever going to get a guard running 40 yards anyway?
Well, in general, if you
are
running
4.92
40
is
yards,
not bad for a guard.
I mean, exactly. You'd be thinking he's too light, right?
If you're running 40 yards in a straight line, whether you're going forwards or backwards, depending on what side of the ball you're on, either something's gone very right or something's gone very wrong. So really, I'm not really asked about the 40-yard dash time. I'm much more interested in that 10-yard split.
Yeah, the shuffle
or
the shuttle move.
I want to see what the time is. So what if he ran a 4.49 or he ran a 4.35? The fact that the guy who ran a 4.35 was slower over 10 yards than the other guy is quite interesting.
Yeah. We're not looking for the best at exercising here. It's how do they do in the fourth quarter of the last couple of minutes of a really difficult game?
Or specifically, how do they do, the combine and, the 3 shuttle drill or the 3 cone drill is actually much more vitally important to certain positions than running in a straight line, as you say, Nick. Running in a straight line is great for wide receivers. They're about the only position I can think that and maybe a running back once they've made a 1 cut that the 40-yard dash makes any blind bit of difference.
But even then, that's not 40 yards. If you're what situation, apart from just a post or something,
Go right, go
are you
route.
actually running 40 yards in one direction? 90% of routes are not. You run towards the end zone and you don't stop until you hit it. That you got slant routes, out routes, cutbacks. Like no one's running 40 yards straight. And
unless
even then,
unless you're the last game, playing for the Packers and just constant Hail Marying it.
DK Metcalf when you had to run back and catch that.
But the
That is
interception,
a big man running.
the
That is a big man running
the 90
very
yard
quickly.
covering the line. Yeah, that was one of the plays of the year. That wasn't it? That was incredible.
I mean, but I said the 40-yard dash in and of itself, the whole 40 yards doesn't make a lick of anything. It's just you may as well judge someone on the 100-yard dash. Like it doesn't really matter. Like you say, Nick, it's the 10-yard split that matters, because that's when receivers are going to start digging. That's when they're going to start cutting. That's when, like, even the ones who are going in further up the field. One thing I wanted to mention, two things. One, I am very sorry to anyone who's experienced if the signal's cut out, it's whatever. Having some technical difficulties over here, seems to be a bit more in the clear as it stands. I thought it was a Wi-Fi problem, and then I thought, realizing the position group that we're talking about, my laptop doesn't like this conversation and doesn't want to partake, and I don't blame it, quite frankly, for not wanting to be part of this conversation. So I'm going to say just quickly jump in and weigh in on that.
To be honest, the only person the 40-yard dash really matters to is Rich Eisen.
Yes.
And fair play to him, because he's taken that and he's run with it, and he's raised millions. Yes, I did say that on purpose, Fletch. Millions for charity, and fair play to him for doing that. And we should all be so lucky to run 40 yards in a suit as well as Rich Eisen does.
Yeah.
I think if I try and run 40 yards, I'm going to pull a hammy, so I'm not even going to bother.
That reminds me of that video. Did you see it a couple of years back about how a group of lads decided their draft position on a fantasy football league was to run the 40-yard dash, and like so many of them were like pulling up with hammies 30 yards in.
School sports day all over again.
I'd fancy my chance at it. I'd fancy my chance at a good pick on that one.
I reckon your 10-yard split is probably impressive, Fletch, but
I'd need to get back into fitness for a couple of weeks first. But that was my one thing when I used to play rugby or football in school and whatever. It was just I was the small, fast kid, more than anything. And obviously, then just magnificently technically gifted, like sniper with an eye for goal.
Were you not? Were you being 4'0"? Were you not the hooker?
Yeah, I can just imagine him in a scrum. He'd be like standing there with his leg waving in the air, leaning on the props either side of him, just not even touching the floor.
Very, very honest there.
The classic image of the little legs flying in the air.
I want to be very, very honest here. I have watched in my life 6 games of rugby, right?
He doesn't even know what a prop is.
I can't tell you what a prop is or a thingy is. And I'm going to be blunt and very, very honest here. I've been 3-4 times to go watch rugby. I would rather watch Test cricket. I can't stand it. I just don't like it. I don't know what it is. I don't know why it is. I've tried my hardest. I just can't. So the answer to whether I was a hooker is a yes, but I don't know what that is in terms of rugby.
Just leave it at
the
that.
Guy in the middle that kicks the ball out the scrum.
Leave it. I like the fact he's just admitted to being a hooker is enough for me. That is the clip for YouTube. That is a short.
This might need some context for our US audience.
The context there,
absolutely not.
The context there is people are willing to give me money for it.
Prop loose head was me. Always loose head.
Don't want
to be prop tight head. You end up with cauliflower ears if you prop tight head. Do you want to be loose head?
Loose head.
Well,
moving on, Fletch, because the jokes are writing themselves in this one.
Yeah, I'm glad we did tight ends last week, but a couple of weeks ago, put it that way. Right. Have we done with linebackers again? Like I was having tech issues. I don't know how far we truly got. Done with linebackers.
Pretty much. We talked about all that was relevant, I think. I think for the first 2 days we've covered linebackers.
Okay, so corners. There are a couple of names that consistently spring to mind as ones that are ones very much to watch. Mansour Delane, Jermod McCoy, Avion Terrell, all potential first rounders. Could Colton Hood slip in there? Nick, how do you want to how do we want to tackle the corners?
I think you've probably got again, like the linebackers, you've probably got 3 first round likely guaranteed picks. Delane, McCoy, and Terrell. Colton Hood, he may slip in right at the end of the first round. I think that'll depend on who's drafting him and whether a team is jumping up from the second round for someone like Ty Simpson. It might be a case of he falls out of that round because he's got to make way for Simpson. But
yeah,
we'll see. For me, Jermod McCoy is probably the better of the top 2 corners between him and Delane. Now, while I may rate McCoy better than Delane, he's not going to go ahead of him because of his injury. And we saw last year how bad an injury can affect. I mean, Benjamin Morrison was expected to be a first rounder. He had a first round grade and everything. He ended up dropping well into the mid to late 30s because of his injury. So I don't expect McCoy to go first, even though he's probably my favourite. But Mansour Delane, 6 foot, 190 pounds, high football IQ, elite ability in coverage. He's got good route knowledge. He reads the game. He reads the game and anticipates what's going to happen. So he needs to add some strength and some mass, because I think at the professional level he's going to struggle in his current build. And one of the big things about Mansour Delane is his speed and his agility advantages. Well, at the pro level, he may not have those advantages, so he's got to work out a way to be present and to move on past that. The fact that he allowed no touchdowns and didn't get a penalty in the final year of college is quite impressive as well. So, he will probably. Let me check my analytics. Mansour Delane,
top 10, top 12.
Yeah, I've
Cowboys
Mansour Delane. He's likely to go between 8 and 11, with the favourite positions being the Chiefs at 9 and the Bengals at 10. So I think that's where you're looking at Mansour Delane going. Jermod McCoy won't be far behind him.
Yeah. He's covered a lot of grass as well, hasn't he, Delane? He's played 4 seasons.
He stayed in school, didn't he? As you say, he stayed in school. He could have come out last year, stayed in, learned even more. Went to the SEC as well, right? He moved to LSU, got even higher level. Yeah, I mean, and as Nick says, not giving up a TD, literally your archetypal lockdown one side of the field corner. Don't have to worry about that side. We're all good. He's over there.
Yeah.
I mean, also I think the thing that's just, the recent thing, even at Pro Day, everyone was like, he's great, he's instinctive, how fast is he? And then he ran a 4.38. Going back to that whole 40-yard dash, does it really relevant? For these guys, kind of matters, because they're going to have to be chasing the speedy wide receivers. And a 4.38 is like to be sniffed at over 40 yards.
Absolutely. I think that was 88 percentile as well, so he was well up there.
Yeah, well up there. As you say, I've got Mansour Delane, McCoy. I think with you there, Nick, I think McCoy is the more polished, better all-round corner, but the fact he's been out with an ACL for a year will mean he won't go first off the board from a cornerback perspective.
I think one of the huge advantages Jermod McCoy's got is that he used to be a former wide receiver.
Yeah.
So he's played both sides of the ball. I mean, it's not like he's Travis Hunter or anything, but
Yeah.
you know,
I mean, it was high school and all that, but it's still
having played wide receiver, it's almost as if he's watching. He's watching from knowledge what the wide receiver is going to do and how the wide receiver is going to react, to allow him to react that ever so slight millisecond quicker.
Yeah.
I think that's why his football IQ is really high, is that he's reading the game really, really well. And the fact that McCoy has the speed to be able to get himself out of trouble as well.
Yeah.
You know, he, the reason he picked up an ACL tear is his ability to change direction at speed. I don't know whether he will have lost that
That's the only
but
thing, right? Isn't it? It's the unknown around that
yeah.
teams will have to weigh the balance of.
Which again, though, things like that come back with good strength and conditioning. The only thing I guess you end up worrying about is in terms when things like that happen, how gingerly is he gonna be? Because that ACL should repair itself quite nicely. And again, he was gonna get some of the best care that he can get. He's gonna get some of the best strength and conditioning that human can get. A lot of that's gonna be mental. And how confident does he feel in being able to do that? So,
you make a good point there as well, because again, touching back on the underwear Olympics, Jamad McCoy turned up and he did all the measurables. He got measured and everything else. He did his medical and all that. He didn't run a 40 because he was giving his knee and everything else more. He didn't do a 40. He didn't do a 3-cone, but he did the jumps and whatever. He didn't do a broad jump, but he did the vertical, and he basically did all the stats he needed to do to keep himself relevant. And then it was at his pro day the other week where he did all the other ones, and he ran a 4.37 at his pro day. So, yeah, again, going back to McCoy, I think if Delane's going off that board when he does, McCoy's not going to be far behind him. I mean, argument's sake, if the Chiefs take him at 9, the Bengals could well take him at 10, although I think they're after a safety. Wouldn't surprise me if Jamad McCoy ends up at, say, Miami or Dallas, couple of drops. So that's where I'm favouring him to end up.
Yep. Chiefs could take him at 9, but what do you reckon to potentially the Saints or someone taking him at 8? Or excuse me, do you think someone, say a Dallas or Miami, and this is where I think the draft could start to get tasty, because I just don't know yet whether any movement's going to happen in that top, like the back end of that top 5. But
Tennessee, Washington might have a swap around. I think I've got a feeling.
I would say
maybe,
but you never know, and it just depends on who's going to fall when. Those trades are always almost draft day trades, right? Because it's when the first 2 or 3 players come off the board. However, I could see towards the back end of that top 10 being where the first couple of play, like you could start to see some movement of teams and trades.
Whether or not anyone, and it was interesting. Can't remember what I was listening to yet another podcast, because I've been all in on podcasts recently, and we've lost Fletch again, and I'm waiting for it to say recording. Around this year, where people will be like, nobody's going to want to give up a 27 draft pick, right?
Yeah.
It'll be a golden year. So no one's giving up too much for next year. Yeah. And a fourth or a fifth thrown in. They shouldn't need any sort of red shirt sitting behind anyone. These are the guys that you plug into your defense and automatically, as you said, as just mentioned, lock down one side and allow you to then work on all the other bits and pieces.
Yeah, I mean, I believe Arizona at 3 and Tennessee at 4 are two teams that are trying to trade down. From
they
what
want
I
out
heard.
of there, but they
can't find a buyer to come up, and that's the biggest problem. It's
I don't think there's not enough players to make that. I'm not moving up to the top three.
I don't want to pick here, so I want to trade down. But you've got to find someone who's willing to come up.
Yeah. And I don't think there's enough in this draft class to make people go, "Oh, I need to pick the top 3," because it's a good draft.
It's not a great draft,
but it's not a great draft, is it? It's good for certain positions, as we're talking about. It's really good for cornerbacks, good for safeties, but you don't take one of them first, second, or third.
No.
You just don't. Anyway, so that's number 1 and 2 cornerbacks. Cornerback 3, Avian Terrell.
Avian Terrell out of Clemson, 5'11", 185 pounds. Excellent sideways motion and turning ability. Allows for top level mirroring. Elite at college level in man coverage. Can play outside or slot. And has a feisty attitude.
Yeah. And a chip on his shoulder because he wants to prove he's just as good as his older brother, who, strangely enough, was a first-round pick a few years ago.
Yeah, I mean his big issue is going to be his size at 5'11". He's really gonna struggle, because he's fighting those physical big. You can
He'll get bodied in the red.
Yeah.
So you pick up a big tight end wide receiver sort of thing, and you're really going to struggle. But he's got a bit of coaching, and we'll see what happens. One thing that I noticed, especially in this last year that he played in 25, is that when he was in blocking mode, and he blocked, he got tied up and couldn't escape the block. Yeah. And that meant that he wasn't then doing the second part of his assignment. So I think that's something he'll probably have to work on at the pro level, because you can guarantee all the other guys have seen it and they'll be like, well, we can do that and catch him out like that way. So that's something that he needs to.
It caused a few penalties as well, didn't it?
Essentially,
last year, I think you got a bit out.
Yeah, he picked. I think that's part of his.
He's almost. He's almost a 15-yard penalty because he's constantly yapping, talking. So yeah, that's us covering those those main defensive backs, as I say, 3-4. Colton Hood is definitely. I think I agree with you, Nick. He's a bottom end of the first, but may unfortunately for him slip to the second because I think whoever would take him, I think Seattle at 32 would be a steal for Seattle. But are Seattle even going to be there at 32? Because somebody might come back for a QB or something. So he's probably early draft round 2.
Yeah,
unfortunately for him.
I mean, I think if you put a gun to my head and you said which would you prefer, I would probably take Hood ahead of Terrell anyway. And
at 31 for the Patriots, you think?
No, we've got far too many needs other than corner. That's not a slight on Terrell. That's just I like Colton Hood better. But yeah. Moving on to safeties, I think.
This is me. I mean, I may have kind of highlighted it when we were talking about Sonny Styles and saying Sonny Styles may be the second best player in this draft. I think consensus is Caleb Downs, the safety.
Yeah, I've got Sonny Styles. I've got Sonny Styles as the third best player in the draft, with Jeremiah Love second.
I mean, that could be a little bit. That could be a little bit of navy blue, bias.
No, everyone's got Jeremiah. Everyone's got Jeremiah Love as the second best player in the draft.
I've got Jeremiah Love as the third best player.
Well,
but I'm a defensive-minded player, and I love playing deep.
Caleb Downs, pound for pound, is the best player in the draft, in the class.
Yeah.
He is elite throughout. Blue chip, ready to go, high floor, high ceiling. Guy will play forever, or certainly a Butcher or Betcher, however you want to Boucher, however you want to pronounce it. How good is this guy?
Fielder who's put some pads on. But yeah, on the Caleb Down thing, though, I think you're right. He is. I mean, he comes from football royalty. His dad played running back. His brother is currently, is it brother or cousin? I can't remember. His brother's currently at the Colts. His uncle played. He just, there is, you say the weakness is he might be a little bit too aggressive when he comes down for the tackles and maybe goes for the big tackle, maybe goes for the highlight reel, sort of hot, big hit shot. But he'll soon come out of that when he hits the league and, can't make those, leveling hits because strangely enough, you're hitting bigger guys.
Yeah.
Technique's going to have to come into it, but
yeah, they'll get coached out of him, won't it?
They'll get coached out. I mean, it'll either get coached out of him or the first couple of weeks in practice, he'll go, geez, this hurts a bit more. I'm going to stop doing that. Because it's not like he's a silly guy, so he's going to learn quite quickly that doesn't work. Can sometimes get a little bit tied up if a lineman gets to him, doesn't shed blocks very well. But again, you're really, really nitpicking. You don't want your safety to be, if your safety's getting tied up by a lineman coming downfield and blocking a safety, something else is a bigger problem here because you're right. He's got past the D line, he's got past the linebackers, and he's got to your safety. You're in real trouble by that point anyway. So it shouldn't really be that much of an effect. There's not many weaknesses to his game. He is out and out, as we've said, just football ready. Just draft him, give him your defensive captain badge, put him in and go, and don't worry about it. He has only played too high. It would be interesting to see what he's like. Majority playing at Ohio State was a too high safety. What's he going to be like as just a single high safety on his own? If he's in a scheme that doesn't need that, then what are you worried about, right? I mean, if he falls to the Chiefs, God's sake, what's wrong with the league? Why do the Chiefs always keep getting these players? If he's there, the Bengals have to take him.
Analytics say he's going to either Giants at 5.
I think Styles is going to the Giants at 5.
Who's at 6?
Browns
at 6 or Washington at 7. They're the three highest rated.
Probably, he could go to Washington because the Lattimore thing hasn't worked out for them, and they need. But I got a feeling the Commanders are going to go to the Titans and go, "Can we have your 4th for Jeremiah Love, please?" And it might be the Titans picking at 7, and I don't think the Titans need a safety. They'll probably take a Freeling or a Fano or somebody at that point. Well, they should keep Cam Ward upright, and therefore I've got a feeling Downs will be in that 9, 10, 11, 12 group, which is shocking because he should be a 5th. He should be 5, but I just think, yeah.
Let's move on. Adam, come on. Dylan Theinemann, he's your boy. Look, come on.
Well, you say he's my boy. We only had him for a year. It was the finishing school type deal.
Polished him up for everyone else.
Exactly.
But it was a great year to have him. Obviously, the highlight moment against Penn State in that second period of overtime. But really solid. Kicked on from there. I think that was a kind of breakout moment for him. Week 6 or whatever it was against Penn State, and then he went on and solidified really good postseason as well. So he feels like the real deal to me, obviously behind Downs, but certainly I think deserves to be sitting behind Downs on the board.
Yeah, I mean, definitely consensus second safety out there, but clearly there. And just a nod to Fletch. I know he's having some technical difficulties, but on the recent across the pod what he did with Andy Davis, he talked about Tielemans keeping up the recent sort of spate or rebirth of the white defensive back. Obviously, he's the next one off the list, and fair play to him. Yeah, polished article, earns his keep, knows, walked with confidence. You'll have no problems if he's your last line of defense at all. As I say, he's just not Caleb Downs, but Caleb Downs is a bit of a freak, unique.
It's his tackle style that I don't like.
Yeah, he's
got that sort of almost like rugby style. I know we were talking about rugby earlier, but he's also almost got that rugby style of get round you and drag you to the floor.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, the guy that you're trying to drag to the floor has managed to get another 3 yards down the. And I know
he doesn't stop you, does he? He doesn't stop. He tackles. He doesn't stop.
It's that drag style of tackling that he's got, and I just wonder whether
he's also with the hip drop tackling.
Yeah, because I don't know whether you can get away with that at the pro level, because there'll be some big, powerful guys there, and so I think probably he needs to improve his tackle style. But
it's definitely one of those techniques that works. You get away with it in college. You're not getting away.
Yeah. You don't get some of those running backs, some of those fullbacks will literally kick out of those tackles and keep going, as you say, or even as you say, Nick, will just keep running for 3, 4, 5 yards, which could be game changing in certain periods if you can't stop that guy behind the line. If you've got him on a 3rd and 1, and if you get that tackle there and stop him, great, it's 4th down. But if you tackle him and he still goes for 3 yards, it's 1st down. It doesn't matter. Yeah, I think there's a bit of slightly bitey on play action. I think as well, he's a bit too quick to kind of go, it's a run. Oh, no, it isn't. So he can watch. But I think you get that a lot with any defensive back coming out of college. I think they're all, again, these are things that can be coached and polished by the professionals, and they'll learn it as they go. Most defensive backs comes out of college and will bite quite hard. Even linebackers, let's be honest, most of the linebackers bite really hard on a play action. Even Sonny Styles bites on a play action. This is not something that's going to be surprising to people coming out. Again, not massive.
Vision, apparently.
Apparently, you got 20/20 vision. I mean, indeed. I don't know how that's important.
What use that is, I don't know, but apparently he has 20/20 vision.
Apparently, he can see just as well out of both eyes. I mean, which is good to know, I guess. I mean,
always helps.
Always helps. As probably in any other year is maybe number 1, but not this year. No slight against him, as we say. Everyone's got slight weaknesses and things that you kind of go, well, this could be better and will be better in year 2 or 3 in the NFL because you'll be polished and coached and whatever else. So there's not much to say that there's anything bad about him. He's clearly a 1st round pick. Probably, where do you think, Nick? Top 20?
Yeah, I've got the
17,
highest.
18.
The highest
Maybe the Rams take him.
18 through 21 is his highest, is where they reckon he'll go high. 18 to 21.
Do well at
So
the Rams. He'll probably end up at the Eagles.
Yeah, I mean, he can do a number of jobs as well. I think he's versatile enough.
Yeah.
You put the right scheme around him, the right coaching staff, you could see him kick on.
Yeah.
He's got to find the right home.
Yeah, and that's the thing with the draft, isn't it? You can get drafted somewhere that just doesn't match, and no matter your talent, if you're not in the right scheme in the right place, you might have to wait for that second contract to roll around before you actually really light it up.
Yeah.
Speaking of finding the right place, who's your third safety off the board?
Emmanuel McNeil Warren out of Toledo.
Yes.
6'4", 201
Is he 6'4"
pounds.
or is he 6'2"?
I've got 6'4".
I've
got
got
6'4".
I know the only is that was the official thing from the combine, but I think at Toledo he was tagged at 6'2", so it's a bit like, oh, hang on,
Standing in a divot.
Well,
yeah,
regardless of whether he's 6'2" or whether he's 6'4", I tell you what, let's meet in the middle and call him 6'3".
Either way, he's prototype size safety.
Yeah, he uses that height, that physicality to his advantage. You know, he excels as a run defender. He's explosive.
Mm-hmm.
I think he plays best in a cover 3 sort of role.
Yeah.
But the difference between the other two guys and him is I think he takes longer to process what's going on in front of him.
Yeah.
And so his reaction speeds are down and he's almost that step behind what's going on because it's taken him time to realize
that.
Now,
that's happening. Whereas, as you say, the top two down.
$18 to $26
Makes the move before it's even kind of happening. He waits to die and then goes, but he covers the ground to get there quite quickly. But as you say, he always seems to be that half step behind. And I just think he's a great size. He's got a lot of pluses, but I think, the athletic side and the stuff that comes out on tape, maybe he drops. The top two, as we just talked about, like he's, but
he's had a little bit of injury woes as well, hasn't he, over the years? I think some shoulder trouble.
Yeah, I think that's probably because he uses his size and his weight and whatever else more than.
I can't get behind that. Sorry, Gary. McNeil Warren is going in the first round.
Oh, you think
he is going in the first round? 18 to 26 is his window, apparently. I had him originally in the second, and I've moved him up to the first over the last few months. This guy's going first round.
Okay, I thought maybe I thought second was his ceiling, but I guess with the size and that Nick Emmanware from Seattle, he's got that similar sort of physical traits, hasn't he? He's kind of a big, unique size, and maybe he'll, because of that athleticism and that size and whatever else, people will think he can do. Well, it'll be interesting to see, one to watch.
They're certainly the top three safeties, top 3 corners, and top 3 linebackers that are all likely to go in the first round over next Thursday night. So
a week from today, on day of release, But it'd be
coming
interesting because
around
I think it is coming around quick, and I think because, as you've just said there's 12 picks at least, maybe, that we've just talked about that will go in first round. It does open up some of those later in the round picks for some moving and shaking, because you wouldn't normally get this many go quite as high as this, because normally there'd be better QBs or there'd be better this, that, and the other. Some of these guys are going to go there and you'd be like, oh, hang on, this guy's still available to us because they've taken, cornerbacks and safeties, which are a really good, as we just said, a good year to take them if you need them, and those are the pieces you're looking for, or almost like a Caleb Downs, he's still on the board taken. Don't matter, right? He's almost if that guy's there at 10, 11, whatever team is drafting there, you take Caleb Downs. You do not think you snap the commissioner's hand off. You don't think an arm and R and take your full 2 minutes or however long they get in the draft. I can't remember. It always seems inevitably too much time that they get.
It's down to 8 minutes now, isn't it? Right, running a quick simulation now. Arvel Reese went at 3 to Arizona. Styles went 5 to Giants. Delane went 9 to the Chiefs. Down 10 to the Bengals. Thieneman went 11 to the Dolphins. McCoy went 16 to the Jets. CJ Allen went 20 to Dallas. McNeil Warren went 23rd to the Eagles. Terrell went 26 to Buffalo. And Colton Hood went 32 to Seahawks. So that's a quick simulation that I've just run there. And all 9 players that we just talked about all went first round.
In your draft, though, just amusing value. You said Terrell went 26.
Terrell went 26 to Buffalo.
Who went 27th? Who went 27th to the Niners? Just out of curiosity, because I would be quite tempted to take Terrell at 26 if he was available with Buffalo and do a swap. But just
Caden Proctor, tackle. I assume that's to replace Trent Williams.
I wouldn't take Proctor in the first, though. He'd still be there. Anyway, I wouldn't take Proctor. Yeah. I don't rate Proctor over some of the other guys either. That's just personal opinion, though. I'd rather have Terrell maybe swap to Buffalo and say, hey, swapsies.
Jets took Bain Jr. at 2, leaving Bailey to go to Tennessee at 4. Jeremiah Love went to Washington at 7.
Yeah.
So yeah, but all those players are going to go first round. I respect what you say about Warren, but I think he's going to go first round. He's too high rated not to.
Well, good. I think that wraps us up. Considering, appreciate you sticking with it, Nick and Adam. I know it's been a bit back and forth with the technical issues of dropping in and out, but we got through what we think is going to be the names to watch out for from day one of the draft. There will be quite a few of these guys that we haven't quite got to that will go day 2 and 3. There's a lot. It is a deep class, but the ones that we've talked about are, head and shoulders the best of the best right now, and these are the guys that you will see on that first night, maybe at the green room or certainly in their living rooms at home.
Yeah. Like I say, we'll find out in a week's time on the 23rd. Late night once again. We'll run late nights.
Get the coffee in. We'll be late nights Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Well, probably not Saturday, Sunday, guys, for us. But
I'm at a draft party, so I'm rocking and rolling all night. So
nice. That's how to do it. I think 49ers Faithful UK are hosting a Zoom party, so there'll be a bunch of us on there. They're always fun because half the people are running on different streaming services, and therefore we can't actually who picked that one? Oh, wait 5 minutes before everyone else has seen the same pick. It's quite amusing. But also on the network, just so you know, next Tuesday, which I think then will be dropping Wednesday next week, there is a Hurdle the Network. I'm not entirely sure what we're calling it. The first round draft from the AAW network show that will be dropping. So do tune into that next week. Make sure you hit us up on the socials. We're in the description below on YouTube and also on your app, wherever you listen to us. We have struggled mightily through the technical issues. This has been a College Football UK show. Nick, appreciate you and your big board. It's a shame.
No worries.
This is the last time we'll see your big board for another year.
Another year.
Yeah, quite possibly. Quite possibly, yeah. So, maybe
You're gonna have to
I might
start putting a
take-
number, take a picture of it, and start numbering it, and then you got to
That's
keep a
true.
record of it.
I'll have to go back and do last year's board again now.
Yeah. We need to keep archive records of it and go back. Next week, we're thinking maybe do a bit of a special show of Where Are They Now? Previous number one picks, Heisman winners, something like that. Just a bit of fun and games, because obviously everything next week is about the draft.
Yeah.
This has been the College Football UK show, and we will see you next time.